Sazón. Welcome to another episode of Convos with Sazón with yours truly. With me today is Laurie Dominguez. She is the founder and chief planner of Nomade Wedding and Events. How are you? Bienvenida.
Thank you, Cata. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Super excited to talk about everything that you do because when I was younger, also wanted to be an event planner at some point. So personally, I'm very interested on top of the respect that I have for those who do your job. Before we get to what you do, though, I want to peel back the layers and talk about you as a person first. ¿Quién es Laurie? Talk to me about your upbringing, your childhood, early interests that you had at the time that maybe are reflected in what you've decided to do now. So wherever you want to start, feel free.
So Laurie, or Laurie, well known in Colombia, Laura, is a person that is just a dreamer. I came from I would say, dysfunctional family. My mom was a single mother, trying to, raise us as much as she could with the tools that she had. She was a hard worker. So for me, that was the inspiration that I had growing up. I grew up between little towns. Sincelejo, if you're from Colombia, you will know Sincelejo. Bucaramanga, which is where I was born. And then I got my high school and university in Barranquilla. Mm-hmm. I studied international business. The reason I started living in New York is because I wanted to learn English. So that was the main reason that I'm here, why I'm here.
Okay, well, what a city to come to. This is a great city, as I'm sure you would agree, that has un poquito de todo para todos.
Sí.
I'm curious to know, because as an event planner, it's really important to pay attention to details, to think about the big picture and the little picture. Would you say that that's a characteristic of yours that you've always had? Like, event planning aside, when you think about when you were little or when you were growing up, were you always drawn to details?
Yes. And actually, and again, I don't know if it's because, coming from a single mother, I had to be paying attention of every single detail of my, upbringing, or the day-to-day basics. I needed to help her, but mostly, I think I have a little bit of OCD, and I think that's why I have to be, disorganized. I have to have my agenda. I need to be, doing this checklist of what I accomplished, what I didn't. So yes, I I am that kind of person, very attention to detail.
When you were younger, what was your first dream of what you wanted to be when you grew up? We have people who grow up and they're like astronaut, lawyer, doctor, fashion designer. What was that for you?
I wanted to be a doctor. It's not crazy. I wanted to, I love babies. So I had all these dolls, and my mom had this little box of medicines. So I used to put all these injections to the babies and help them, and they have fever. I also was sick a lot when I was a kid. I just had always an infection, or I was super sick when I was growing up. So yeah, I think that's why I wanted to be a doctor. Okay. But then when I spoke with an actual doctor, looking for a career, a guidance, she said, well, you have to read a lot, and then you have to, being a study 24/7, you will never finish a study. And I'm you know what? And I hate blood. So I was when they draw blood from me, I pass out or something. So yeah, doctor, I don't think that was the thing that I was.
Those are wake-up calls for sure. So when it did come down to starting to make those decisions of what to study, ultimately what to do with a career, where did you start? How did you start that process after you turned the page on doctor?
Yeah, so I really knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur because when I was a kid, I always was like selling things in the school. For example, I was well, my mom as a single mother and without like my father like working or sorry supplying for us or like helping us, we needed to a way to make money. So my sister and I were like selling like chocolates at school, and then when I was growing up, I was selling like, we call it deditos in Spanish, which is like like the finger foods and sandwich. So I was like a really like making it,
A hustler at an early age.
So I knew that first of all I like money, but I like to work. So I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I decided to go for international business, not knowing that logistically that's like the international business you can do a lot of like things. But when I graduated from the university, I started working for a travel agency.
Okay.
But they were doing a lot of events, like mostly corporate, and I fall in love with like this kind of like like a hype. Like I was always like busy, like I liked the tension, like because I'm super hyper, like
I can tell.
So I love like running around, like feeling that people were calling me, and like, but I love the behind the scenes. And when the day is on, I love to see what I created and what I produced. So that's how I fell in love with like events.
I love it. So events found you and not the other way around.
Correct.
I can relate to many of the things you just said, because I too, I love that no day is the same. I love the fast-paced nature. And I do think that with events, there is a tangible result in terms of you're literally seeing progress as you're working towards the big day, and then when the event is actually on, you see it come to life, which is beautiful. So okay, you started in corporate events. At what point did you make the transition from Colombia to the US? I know that you said it was for English, so where does events follow?
So I like my ex-boss or ex boss. She was a good teacher, but she was tough. So I was like really like losing my hair, not having like enough like money, because in Colombia, unfortunately, like the payment at that point for like a recent graduated person wasn't great. So I was just struggling, and I had this opportunity and to come into United States as an au pair, and I was like, you know what? Why not? Yeah. She, like my ex-boss, I remember she said these words to me, like, if you leave, people will forget about you. And I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong. So I had this opportunity. I started living with this amazing family in New York. And okay, before leaving Colombia, I spent 2 years in the program deciding where I was going to go. Like, I didn't want to make that move without like an intention, right? Yeah. So I was like, it has to be a big city, a city that I love, like with a great family. And with that, I'm going to have opportunities. Like always like looking, what is the plan next? Yeah. So yes, it was in New York. It was in Manhattan. It was with a great family, which I'm still in touch with them. And once I arrived here, I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. I'm not. I loved it. Like I found my place. I think I always was lost, trying to find my home. I was alone since I was 11. Like I was living with my sister, like the middle one. And my mom unfortunately had to leave the country. Of course, we didn't have a dad in picture. So to me, finding the right place to live, it was something that I knew I had to do. So making that transition and finding the city that I was like, yes, I didn't make a mistake. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to make it here, because what is like the thing is that's like, if you make it here, you make it anywhere.
Anywhere, yes, like the song says.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, as the song says, like, yeah, I was going to prove myself that I was going to make it.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to know, with so many fluctuating factors in your life, you know, moving around, having family close and far, did you feel like you had to make this decision on your own? Did you have any opinions from your family, whether it was your mom, whether it was your siblings, on go one route versus another? Or did you truly feel like you could make this decision and move at peace forward?
So I was alone in certain parts of my life, and I knew that the decision that I was going to make, I mean, like, I didn't need approval from anywhere, anybody, sorry. But I have, my sister is like, it was like my mother figure, and she was at that point married with an amazing guy, and he was like a dad figure. So those were the people that I trusted the most, and they were like angels, like, because thanks to them, like, I am the woman who I'm here right now, you know, like, otherwise I would be, you know, lost in Barranquilla, I don't know where, married with like a bad guy, I don't know, like, it was so many possibilities that it could go wrong, but it didn't. So the decision, I knew it was on me. Like, nobody had to tell me, yes, you have to do it, or yeah, go ahead, you know, because I paid everything like for that trip. Like, I came to New York with my savings. Like, nobody gave me money. I was 23, 24, so I was young.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was an interesting part of my life that I love, and it made me stronger, I feel.
Absolutely, I have no doubt. So you get to New York. Luckily, it's with a good family, as you mentioned. After imagining what New York could be like, or what this step could look like, what reaffirmed that it was a good decision? Like, what did you feel? What experiences did you have that you took as signs from the universe of like, estoy donde tengo que estar?
Sí. Happiness. Like, for a long time, you know, I didn't feel that, like, everything was wrong. Like, my job was wrong in Colombia. Like, relationships with men were like super wrong. Didn't work. And then when I arrived into New York, it was just peace. Like, I can be whoever I want, and nobody will tell me or judge me because, oh, you didn't come from this family, or like this last name. It's like, I hate it, by the way.
Or where you
like,
studied.
Yes. Oh, what is your high school? Like, I'm like, who cares? Like, that doesn't make you as a person. But anyway, so for me, like, the feeling of being free, finally, that was like the reassurance that I was in the right place, and I never wanted to leave.
Okay. So you're with this family, but you have bigger plans. You know, the family was kind of an entry point to this next chapter. Was there anything that you were doing while simultaneously working with this family to work towards that bigger goal?
Yes. So they didn't know, like, so when you're an au pair, you cannot work anything else. Like, your visa is attached to the family, to one job, you know, like, you have your social, but like, you cannot basically legally work for anybody. So I have a friend that her sister was a big finance, you know, guru in here in Manhattan. So I started doing an internship with her. So I sneaked out, you know, like, in between my schedules, and I was like for 2 hours a day or something, and they paid me like nothing, like $100 a week.
Oh my gosh.
But to me, it was like, wow, I'm doing something in an office. So it was more like, oh, well, I'm doing this. I'm not just changing diapers, but I'm like, you know, continuing, like, doing something as a professional.
And I think that's the perfect example of, even though money is important to live, and as you mentioned earlier, you had an appreciation for money early on, it isn't always about just the monetary compensation, because you were gaining experience that you probably otherwise wouldn't have gotten had you not gone out of your way to seek these opportunities out.
I was and you're right. Like, I wasn't just hunger of money, because it's like, clearly I'm not a millionaire, but like it was just more hunger of like to learn, to, you know, like to being in a different culture, different place, different language, like learn as much as I could. And still I'm learning every day, but like I feel like success is about, you know, success is relative or objective, but like it's more about how do you perceive life and how do you want to engage. Como es como que el éxito no viene solo de exacto, del dinero o mira lo que logré con esta empresa. No, es como sentirte lleno por todo lo que estás aprendiendo.
Sí. Y hay experiencias también que nadie te las va a poder quitar, o sea, más allá, el título viene y va, la plata viene y va, pero lo que uno vive no te lo puede quitar, y creo que cada experiencia como que va construyendo encima de la otra, y eso es, en mi opinión, como que lo más importante de, listo, a la medida que tú estás hablando sobre tu trayectoria hasta el momento, desde ahora te estás dando cuenta, pucha, yo no lo sabía en ese momento, pero me sirvió de algo y me sirvió de esta manera en particular.
Sí, no, o sea, going from changing diapers at least to, you know, for me 2 hours a day was amazing. Going into, you know, this big building it was at Rockefeller Center.
Oh, wow.
So going into this office, just like you know, like taking papers away or doing anything office related, for me was like, this is amazing, you know, and like the view of like, you know, of like Manhattan, and everything was like, again, reassuring that I was in the right place, that I was learning, that I wanted to take, you know, from people, like the best from people, and yeah, and make it, trying to make it, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point, if you trying to make it in New York.
Okay, so you were with this family for 2 years, and what came after then? You know, how were you able to use the experiences that you gained, both within the family and outside, and kind of go out into the other side of the workforce, per se?
So I changed my visa for a student visa. I was like, I'm not gonna be here without any, you know, without any papers. And in the way, I was so lucky, like this financial person that I used to work or do the internship, she introduced me with a nonprofit. And this nonprofit hired me as an event, you know, planner for their gala. So, you know, now then I started like, oh my God, okay, I was changing diapers. I was like just doing practically my work for free, but it wasn't free. You see, like it's like everything that you give, like you get it back. So she introduced me with this nonprofit, which I'm still, you know, work for them as a freelancer. And then I started like working with them and making other galas for another nonprofit. So then I started building what I wanted, like doing events. Like it was amazing.
You mentioned that it wasn't always easy making this transition, right? You were excited about New York, but it doesn't always look or sound as perfect as it might seem from the outside looking in. So let's talk about some of the challenges that came with making the move, trying to enter the workforce, even though you were starting to get opportunities to gain the experience that you wanted and to be at least one step closer to your end goal.
So when I was a student, of course I met my husband now. So that was like a little bit of like, I felt acompañada, me sentí, ok, finalmente tengo por lo menos a alguien que no sé que me entendiera, pero que estaba ahí para mí.
Sí.
But in that transition, I remember I started working for another family as a, you know, like as a freelance, like as a solo person, like not with a family anymore. And it was the worst. I was like, I don't want to be a babysitter forever. Like I need to do something that I want to do, which is events. Like I was clear that like my path was like coordination, events, event planning, anything, but has to be, you know, that path. And I started like looking for jobs, and it was so hard. Like I was, you know, like in long process, like after process, oh yeah, you're the perfect candidate. And then they decided to go with another person. And then I don't know how actors do, because that is so painful. Like I was like, oh, I was this, you know, like to take this job, and I knew I was good. But I felt like there were different things that happened. And it's, of course, I have an accent. I'm not like, you know, my English is okay, is good, but it's not perfect. So I felt that that was one of the things that make me feel like rejected for you know. And then the other, and then I was depressed. I was like, I don't want to keep doing this. Like, you know, I don't want to keep trying to find a job that they're not seeing what I can give. I don't know. It was so hard. I was like, here I am. Like I can do an amazing job, but that you think that I can't. Anyway, so in that moment, I thought that I was going to leave New York. I was like, you know, maybe I'm going to Spain. My family live in Spain. Or maybe I'm just going to go back to Bogota, the capital. Like, you know, I have the English now, so I can look for a job. But I was sad. And then when I was in that moment deciding I'm going to leave, that's when I found the nonprofit job.
Okay.
So it was like another, you know, like life was saying like, no, you should be here. Like, don't leave.
It's interesting because as you talk about that process of entusiasmándote and then being back to square one when they say no, it really is like this vicious cycle of like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? You know, you're looking for someone and here you have it in front of you, but for whatever reason, there isn't a match. And so it's interesting because across all industries, especially in the time we live in now, you know, there's so many layoffs happening and there's so many doors being shut and the labor market is crazy. And so it's just an interesting reminder that as hard as it feels in the moment, como que todo pasa por alguna razón, and also as isolating as it may feel, there's so many people that go through that as well. And I think it's a reflection of a flaw in the system and not a flaw in the talent that is out there and the hunger to work and the desire to learn. So I was just reminded of that.
I'm not going to go into politics because, you know, but I felt, you know, I came here during Obama. And then, you know, it changed with the new administration with Trump. So, of course, the change was real. Like I felt the change, and that was another thing that I was like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this here. Like I am here like giving my best, paying taxes, you know, like you know, doing a good job. and then the corporate world in America is not easy. I couldn't find a job. So I mean a job like for, you know, like
one that you wanted and knew that you were capable of doing.
Exactly, that I was looking for until, you know, like again, angels telling me, okay, you can do it. So I get hired by this not-profit. And I stayed there for like 2-3 years. I learned a lot. It was amazing. And then after that, it's like, okay, what is next? What is next? That was another difficult part because it's like another year took to find out what I wanted to do. Non-profit world is
it's
tough because you need to raise money and you know, if like it's always with limited budgets, and I love it though, but it's hard. It's not for everybody.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that teaches you to be even more resourceful than you probably were at the time, because you have to do so much more with noticeably less, precisely because it's contingent on donations. So if nothing else, además de la experiencia en años, eso también te enseña muchísimo.
No, y fue espectacular. My first gala was at Cipriani, 25 Broadway. I remember that. It was amazing. But yes, it was like with my nails. Basically, like, oh my God, like, you know, trying to build up this gala and like as you mentioned, like if they didn't sell like the tickets, it was like hard to pay the vendors. So it was like a really, really a hard job. But the experience, wow, like it was amazing. Like I wouldn't change that.
Talk about what happens internally for you to get to the point of, okay, I think I got what I needed out of this opportunity. I learned. I'm ready for whatever's next, even if I don't know what that next is. Like, how did that feel? How did you realize that, like, okay, like, time to move on?
Yes. I knew that was it, because you're not growing anywhere else, right? Like if you are working for somebody else, you expect to be raised, or like your salary, like I don't know, promoted. But it wasn't I wasn't promoted. Like I didn't have any raise, because salary wise was the same, because it was a nonprofit. So I was like, this is it. I think that, like, I don't want to keep doing this. It was a lot of stressful times when the nonprofit didn't have money, so I had to wait to get paid. So all of these things happen in the nonprofit world. So I was like, okay, I think I can do it by myself. I'm gonna build my own company. Like I want to do more galas. We'll see what happens.
Wow.
And it was shocking, because again, like, to start doing corporate events is hard, because every company in New York have their own like team that make their own events.
Or their go-to people. It almost seems como una rosca.
Sí.
It's like you're in, and once you're in, you're in. But to get in,
no, it was impossible. So I was like, okay, that was another like crash for me. It's like, oh my God. So I quit this job, and now it is so hard to get in and make any event that I wanted to make, right? Like any event. So that's the next chapter.
So you mentioned that a year went by. In that year, is that when you were attempting to make your own contacts, kind of reaching out to whoever would listen, and eventually landed on Nomade? Like what happened in that year? How did you go from quitting a nonprofit to now having your own business?
Yeah. So, and again, I tried to, like find other jobs, and again, rejections. And I was like, okay, I think that I'm gonna create my own company. But I wasn't sure that I wanted to do anything else but just corporate. And then I discovered the weddings. So that saved me, actually, because I was just like, focusing on one thing, and I was like, weddings, no, ew, like brides, what? And then I started planning. Like the reason why I opened my mind is because I started planning my own wedding. And I was like, oh, wow, I actually enjoy this. Like, this is amazing. And I started reading, like, how, like, es un multimillionaire, like, business. Like, I mean, ¿cómo se dice? Es un negocio lucrativo. Como que el negocio de las bodas es grandísimo. Y nadie lo piensa. Todo el mundo piensa que es el corporate. No, las bodas.
Bueno, y especialmente porque todos los que se quieren casar tienen gustos diferentes, tienen especificaciones diferentes, different budget as well. So, para todos los gustos, todos los budgets, hay alguien como tú.
So I started building Nomade. So that's why the Nomade is Nomade Events. But then in the way of like building the website and building everything, I was like, oh, wow, like weddings can be also a good thing to do. And I met a friend, and she was a wedding planner, actually. And she's like, you know what? I'm done. I don't want to do this. She hired me for like a couple of weddings to coordinate. And I was like, this is so good. I love it. So she was out, I was in. She gave me a lot of advice. So I added into, like my company. She still now she works for me, she coordinates with me, but I thank her because she introduced me also into this world. Like I was like in love like planning my own wedding, but because of her I was like yes, this is the business. So that's how Nomade Weddings, Nomade Events is like just one. Like I can do every type of event, but like I focus in weddings.
Okay. I want to talk more about what your wedding planning process was like and what about it is what you loved. Before I get to that though, I can't help but notice, this recurring pattern of you seeking opportunities outwardly, right? And other companies, and another country. And when you were faced with the challenge of not being hired for whatever reason, you ended up hiring yourself and taking a bet on yourself. And entrepreneurship, I think sometimes, many times actually is romanticized, but not that many people talk about truly what it takes. Like it's not like de la noche a la mañana te despertaste and all of a sudden Nomade Events and you're successful. Like let's talk about the long nights. Let's talk about how you have to be focused on the vision and persistent before you actually see results. Maybe, you might want to see results immediately, but with entrepreneurship, like you are the business. And so everything depends around the decisions that you make or not. Talk about that.
So starting any company, I think that any entrepreneur person like will say, any entrepreneur will say like, this is hard. And sometimes you feel like, do you think I'm making like the right decision? I always talk to my husband when I was starting Nomade. And I said, do you think that this is the thing? Like, should I just try to find a job, like corporate job? Like it's easier, right? But the hardest part is starting a company is of course finding the client. Because it's like how people will believe me that I'm good if I don't have any client. Mm-hmm. So of course you start like going low in prices, like advertising. So the knot for me worked for a long time. It's super expensive. Now it doesn't work the same, but like at that point I was at the knot and I was like, taking clients, using pictures. I'm very visual. So I was always like telling the photographers, like, hey, can you send me the pictures? Like this will help me to build up my my portfolio. Mm-hmm. So the hardest part I will say is to find the clients, to find the audience, to make it profitable. I mean, I never lost money. Service is easy because, like it's not like you're losing money with a product, but of course, like you're wasting time if you don't.
And time is money, some would say.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But you don't feel it that way sometimes. But yeah, no. So that was the hardest part. And then not talking about like the clients that you get that you knew it was going to be a problem, but then you take them just because you needed, that experience. Now I can say that I don't need that client.
Yeah, which goes to show how far you've come. When we talk about weddings, especially, there's this reputation of bridezillas. Have you experienced bridezilla? What is it like to still be professional and deal with high tension and emotions? And in my opinion, please correct me if I'm wrong, a key role of a wedding planner is to plan everything up to the day so that on the day of, the bride and the groom, they don't have to think about anything. But we don't always see that. And it's not the wedding planner's fault, but we also have overbearing clients, as I'm sure you can say.
I don't know if this is a human nature, but a month prior the wedding, sometimes it's not even bridezilla, it's groomzilla too. It's like, oh my God, like they change. Like they get like, I don't recognize them. I'm like, who are you? The good thing is like, I always have everything under control. Like for me, it's easy because I have a lot of experience. So I try to give them like peace and calm, even though they're like stressed about like when people are stressed, they don't think clearly. So they're like, how I can take that chair? And I'm like, in an Uber. I don't know, like, or like how, like, I don't know, they get into a rabbit hole that my mission is to take them out of there, right? And then bring them like calm. But it is true. It's a lot of Brazilians. I remember the day off, I had one that she was petite, beautiful. Like, like I always feel like she was calm. And the day off, oh my God, she was like, we were all afraid, like, is she okay? Like, she was screaming around and like, I don't know, people get like very, stressed. But I mean, you professionally, you cannot like scream back or, like normally it's like bring them to the calm. Hey, don't stress about this. Like, we can take care of that, or we took care about this, or like, trying to minimize as much as possible, like any stress from them. But yeah.
I want to pick your brain because I am so fat. Like as someone who has been to so many weddings as a bridesmaid, especially, I've had the honor to be invited in such capacity. I love weddings, and I can relate to many of the things that you've mentioned because maybe later in this life or in another life, I think event planning could be for me. But what are there any like recurring things that people get stressed about? Like, is it the seating chart? Is it the schedule? Like, is there anything that like casi sin falla will always be a point of contention with your couples?
I feel it's in general like the timeline. I mean, because this is another thing. So in my planning, I don't go to the hotel when they're changing or everything like that. So building the timeline for them, I feel like is stressful because then you have to think about everything that goes through the day, and they start like panicking. Oh my God, but who is, what is going to happen next? And like, what is this? It's always like, for them, it's like, we have to do this timeline. That's one thing, like building the timeline. I feel like it stress them out thinking about the day off. I don't know. It's like, and then in the day, I feel like the seating is another thing because I can't help with that. Like, you have to, like, as I'm your wedding planner, but like, your people, so you need to build up this seating. And like thinking who is gonna be next to who. I mean, like this. I mean, if you think this is ridiculous, guys, like I've been doing all of this like planning, and then you just have to sit down people next to each other. For some reason, it's a big problem. And then guests don't understand when you cancel. They have to rearrange this, like the table. So yes, the seating is a major issue, and mostly, I never recommend to do like the mapping, meaning like you sit down, like you put the name tags on each chair. This is a nightmare for me and my team. We will do it though. But like, it is even harder because the bride and groom have to give me all of these organized for me to understand, okay, Maria is next to Juan and Juan is next to Pedro. Like it is like the whole...
Yeah.
That is like the hardest part, I will say.
Okay.
The other things, I feel like it's easy. Like they just go drink, eat,
Yeah. Okay. Let's scale it back a little bit in your process because I want to hear, let's say hypothetically, I come and I say, I'm getting married and I want you to be my wedding planner. From that point forward, what does, generally speaking, that look like? Like, what do you tackle first? How do you work with these couples until eventually you get to the big day?
Yeah, so basically, okay, the first thing that we need to do is book the venue. Of course, like, you need to book the venue, like, reserve the date. In New York, it goes super fast. So, of course, that's the first thing, finding the right venue for you. Like, of course, I need to have a big conversation to understand what is your vision, like what is the type of venue you like if it's a raw venue or it's a restaurant, or it's like, everything depends of like the bride and groom vision. And then of course it comes like the catering. For me, like that's the biggest part for a planner in New York. If you have a great caterer, you have a great wedding. Caterings like have like the 50% success on a wedding, because they have to do a lot. Like they have to help me to, if it's a raw venue.
Meaning, viene con nada. Tienes que meterle todo. Okay.
O sea, there's certain places that you need to rent everything. It's just a blanket space, AC, but nothing else. So those venues, I love them, but it's hard to work with, right? So the caterer has to bring everything, tell me what they need for the rentals, for the kitchen, and then on top of that, build up with my stuff, like the front of the house, which is like all the tables, linen, china. Normally if you go to a place that comes with a caterer, or it's like a space that has their own caterer, like everything is set up, right? In these raw venues, which are my favorite, I mean, it's a lot of work, but I love them because you can do everything, you can create. It's like you can customize everything.
Yeah.
The cater is the big part. So after finding your right venue and your cater, then it comes the rest, which is not less important, but you have more alternatives, like the DJ, photographer, videographer, I don't know, if you want a photo booth, if you want a band, and of course the lining and all of this. But that's the first thing, securing vendors. And then the next thing is like, of course, decor. For me, like the last part for my planning is the decor. Because of course, like, you need to secure your first vendors, like depending on the budget you have. And then how much do we have for the rest, for the decor, right? Like flowers. And I know in Latin America, it's hard because everything has to be full of flowers and green and like, like if you're doing like a wedding for like a jeque árabe, like, oh, esto todo lleno,
like drapes.
Oh my God. No, here is different. Here is, more minimalistic, like people are aware. And it's so expensive too. Like New York is super expensive to get married.
In every sense of the word, but I can only imagine what it's like for weddings. Okay, to speak to Nomade specifically, how did you land on the name? What was your goal when you first set out, to make this a business? And how has it evolved since then? How long has it been since you launched?
So Nomade was because in Spanish and in French, and nomade is like a nomada. So it's like we're all nomads, right? But I didn't want to put nomads, so nomade, like a French. It's actually kind of French.
Okay.
So that's where it was, because I can do weddings everywhere, or like events anywhere. Like I do destination weddings, so I didn't want to be just like in New York. I wanted to be kind of international, and that's the name. And it was born right after the pandemic. Like I had Chloe, which is my daughter, and it was the time to go out again and work. So it was born right after the pandemic. So it's been 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years doing weddings. It's amazing. I mean, and also other type of events. I still do galas, but with certain clients. It's not like my main job.
You mentioned earlier that you were inspired to do weddings because of your own. What about it? Like, what do weddings have on the planning side that no other type of event does, that maybe is what drew you to it?
I feel connected with the couples and their dreams. Like, this is something that is hopefully once in a lifetime. I don't know. Hopefully. But getting to know them and like imagine like putting all this money on my responsibility, because this is a huge responsibility to, bring them what they always wanted for the wedding. Make me feel like I can do this for you. Like I can create, I can help you to bring your vision to life. So I felt that it was more special. It was also like you get to know your couple for like, because normally when you plan the whole wedding is over a year that you start, knowing this person, having calls. So I'm still friends with a lot of couples that we go and have drinks, or we have WhatsApp groups, and like we talk, and it's amazing. I love all my couples. But I feel like, yes, it's the relationship that you build with your couples, and the community is also beautiful. Like I love my vendors. I prefer vendors of some Brooklyn venues. So I love the people who work there. Like they're all sweet and open. Like they're, I don't know. Like I feel that they're all, todos son dulces. Sí. We're all warm. It's a warm community, right? Yeah. Like you don't feel judged. A lot of planners and people that work in the industry that are from everywhere, Colombia, Mexico, I don't know, Brazil, I don't know, a lot of Latin Americans, also like, from Pakistan, from, I don't know, all over the world. So I feel that is an amazing community. I felt my, like my people.
Yeah. And what would you say about the evolution? It's now been 6 years. What was your initial goal when you started your company, and how has that maybe changed or grown with time?
So I never, like, I was like, I'm going to see if like I get 1 or 2, weddings a year. I wasn't like expecting much, but then, receiving a lot of weddings through the year, I felt like I could expand my services. So now I'm doing florals. So I am a florist too. Like I have another company. So this is Nomade Weddings, and then the other one is Floral Soiree. So, like I can do more. So it's like, I offer you my planning, but also I have a floral studio that I can, build whatever your vision is. So I feel that help me in the creative part too. I'm very visual. I love fashion. I love like decor. I love, like that everything looks great. Like, so that part of I feel like I evolved from like from the beginning, just thinking about, I'm just gonna plan, but then now I'm able to create, to like to offer like advices of how to build this, what color. Like I have also up lights, so I can bring them. I don't know, like it's like you can do so much in weddings, and if the couple like it and let you, like you can help them to enhance.
As you've established earlier in this conversation, every wedding is different, every couple is different. However, what is that common thread that you want to still keep and you have kept through all the clients that you've worked? If nothing else, what is your hope that they leave with, whether it's a feeling, whether it's a thought, after they've worked with you, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a corporate event, a gala of any sort? Like, what is kind of the Laurie Dominguez touch?
That they were happy, the happiness after the event. I don't know. So for example, I'll tell you a little story. When I had my wedding, I hired a DJ. And I was between 2 DJs, and the DJ that I hired I thought that was like better, and he didn't deliver what I was expecting. And I was so disappointed. Like after the wedding, I had this feeling in my chest of like, I was kind of like a little bit of angry. Like, I was like, why? Like, I hire you and then you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So answering your question, that's the same for me. I want them to feel happy that everything that they, were thinking was delivered. Like it was, like their vision, like it was a lot of money put into this. Imagine like having these couples without the feeling of like, my wedding was amazing. And everybody, I swear, says like, oh my God, everybody says that my wedding was amazing. You know, like I have great vendors, I have like great staff, like my team is amazing. So the feeling, like my major happiness is that they feel happy after.
Yeah. Alongside the work that you do, it's very important to build and maintain trust, which is something you mentioned earlier of when you were first starting, ¿cómo hago esto si no tengo clientes? Obviously, throughout the years, you've built your clientele, you've built your contact base as well for vendors. How do you make it a point to create that sense of trust with all of the clients that you work for? How does that work?
Communication. I feel like the biggest success in my business is the constant communication with my clients. The how fast I answer my emails is how fast I get clients. Guys, you cannot take a week to answer a new client, for example. I answer within 2-3 hours of my emails, and that's the key of the success. I'm giving you that advice. But for me, I create WhatsApp groups with my couples, and that builds a trust. Believe it or not, it's amazing because they feel like I am reachable, which I am. I'm like a chat GPT. Like they can text me like, hey, Laurie, are you awake? And I'm like, yeah, you know, like, I've been talking with Bryce even like 11:30. I know that we have to set up boundaries, but closer to the date, I'm more available because you have to fix any problem that may occur or happen. But yes, I feel like the constant communication is the key for my couples. I feel like they feel like, oh my God, I have this question, Laurie is gonna answer. So yes, that is my golden thing.
Standard.
Yes.
What would you say throughout the years are your wedding's do's and don'ts? Like, what would you recommend? What don't you think is worth it? Obviously, respecting people's taste, but generally speaking, if you had a list of recommendations, what would you share?
The biggest thing, as I mentioned before, the catering. Find a good caterer that has like a great, I mean, talking about New York, right? Find a great caterer that has great food, great drinks, great staff. Do not, like, I wouldn't say that, do not spend a lot of money in decor, even though I have like, you know, floral soiree and like I want you to spend money, but if you don't need to spend these thousands of dollars in flowers that they're gonna go to trash at the end of the night, is sad actually. That I will say, this is something important that I ask my couples when I'm having like an interview, is like, what is the most important for you in your wedding? And they always answer food, drinks, and music. So that's the key: food, drinks, and music. If you have a great catering, if you have like a great DJ and you have great drinks, everything is gonna be perfect. Nobody will care, oh, like this flower is a little bit dry, you know, like, I mean, like, not in New York, like people is, So I spend more in experiences and not just visual. Again, I love visual, but you should focus is just in that.
You've mentioned that you do specialize in New York, but you've done destination weddings as well. What do you have to switch on and off between those differences? You know, like becoming an expert in New York and simultaneously being flexible to go wherever the wedding wants to happen. You know, what does it take to really get that done? Yeah,
and I have to tell you, it's harder to do weddings in Latin America because it's like it's a huge production. If you're building this huge concert, right? Like, it's so different. Here it's like, oh, it's so light. It ends at 11:30. In Latin America, it ends minimum like at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Like it can go until 4 a.m. So I've done a couple of weddings in there, and it's more work. It's more people involved. Like, you cannot imagine like the amount of people that you need to build, to plan a wedding in Latin America. And it's okay. It's culturally is different. So, and I love it. Of course, like I love to hire these. Of course, I'm not gonna do the florals there, but like I hired these florists that were amazing. I did one in Guatemala and another one in Barranquilla. And these florists were like working since the day before, building these huge, massive ceiling arrangements. Like, it was amazing. And I love it because to me, this is like, wow, in Latin America, we're like amazing
todo
workers.
Se puede,
sí, todo es mucho
no,
más. Sí, espectacular. Las bodas, las fotos, wow. O sea, the floors, like the dance floor, everything was like a dream, right? Again, it's completely different. Here is super minimalistic. There is like none. It's like over the top. Pero I love both.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy my work. I enjoy that's that keeps me alive. Like, imagine that everything is the same, it will be so boring. 100%. I love like to explore new venues, new couples, like when the couples are from different like backgrounds or different like religions. It's amazing too, like knowing the cultures, like like I had a wedding from Nigeria, so it's like he was from Nigeria, or like Indian weddings, which it lasts like
that's like a week long.
Yeah, it starts like from Thursday until Sunday. It's crazy, but it's amazing. It's the cultural differences that makes me blow my mind. Like, wow.
I want to talk about numbers real quick. A couple of things. Number one, you've mentioned your team. How many people are on your team? I'm sure it differs on the size of the wedding as well, but how many people, and also what did it take to build the team that you now call your team?
Yeah, it depends because I have two separate teams. The ones that help me with the coordination, mostly the day off, and then the other one when I have the floral, like the people who help me too with the the logistics of the florals. So I will say with me they're like 4 people. I mean, it's not like huge, but normally when depending of the size of the wedding too, if I need 2 or 3 with me, for the day off. But normally the day off is 2 of my assistants, which is one is Lina, which she was a planner for like a long time in New York, and now she's like, I'm done planning, but I like the day off. So she works with me. I have Ivan, which he's amazing. He's Colombian. He's also from Bogota. And he's super punctual. See, he's like a super nerd, but like a good nerd. And he also likes to drink, so I love him. And then from the floral part, I have Vero, which she's like amazing, like building, like. And then again, like I have people who works with me in bigger events that has like the trucks, which I always call, which is Morgan. So I have like these people that I call them my team because they work all the time with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many events would you say you've planned in the history of your company? It's been 6 years. How many weddings? How many corporate? Roughly,
God.
like super roughly.
I will say over 100.
Okay, the reason that I ask is because earlier in the conversation you said, I would have been happy with 1 or 2 weddings a year. Amita, how far you've come.
See? And you don't see it, right? Like, because I feel like as a human being, you always like go hard on yourself. Because let's say it's not always like super profitable. Like this year has been hard. Like the hardest year is this one for me in the wedding side. I don't know what happened. Like people are not getting married. The economy is bad. Like, I don't know, like the government, I'm not going to talk about the government. Tiene sus cositas. Sí. Pero no hablaré del gobierno. No, something is happening that is not as good as last year, right? Like, and again, that's the thing about to be an entrepreneur. No, you don't have a constant math of like this month I'm gonna receive a lot, and like the first semester was hard for me, but now I'm like golden. I'm like, oh, this is like the vacas gordas, the vacas flacas were the first 6 months. Now I'm like, now I'm getting better. But yeah, that's when you get hard on yourself, and it's like, what? I'm not a good wedding planner. But then it's good that you make that reflection, saying like, look back, you wanted just 2, and now you build up this.
So more than 100.
Yeah.
If you were to divide it up, is like more than 20 a year. Imagínate. And that takes a lot. O sea, you should be super proud.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you've exceeded your own expectations.
Yeah, and then, see. I'm red. See, I'm proud. I'm proud also with my family, because my husband has to take care of my kid during the weekends. Like normally, the weddings are during the weekends. But I love it. Yeah. I love that break of like my child, because during the week I have to pick her up in the afternoons and I spend more time with her. And then these weekends I disconnect myself from my house. Believe it or not, it's like I feel like it's necessary as a mom too. So it's great.
I love that you're talking about that, because that comes with the trade-offs as well of entrepreneurship. As you mentioned earlier, there should be a boundary and there should be a work-life balance. But at the end of the day, you know where your priorities are and what has to give versus what takes at time. That's interesting that you mentioned that, because I think it is really important.
My dream will be like Chloe is her name, that Chloe comes with me at some point and start helping me. I mean, I don't think that I want to be 80 doing events, right? Like, maybe at some point I will sell it. But for now, it's like my passion. But I want her to love what her mom does. Like, she has the creative part of her dad. But I'm also creative. Hey, I'm creating these weddings. Look at that. Look at the pictures. So I want her to love it. I know that she relates my work with florals, with blooms, because I work with a lot of florals, and she can see it, and she can like build like small bouquets when I'm like building these arrangements. So she has an understanding. She's just 5, but like I will love that she said, I love what my mom does, and like she makes these couples happy.
You've mentioned your daughter a handful of times in this conversation, and I would love to know, what do you hope, whether it's she goes into weddings or event planning or not, but what do you hope she takes away from your journey of, mira, yo toqué puertas y no resultaron, so I made my own path and I took a chance on myself. And it's important to sometimes go off the beaten path if it means being happy or seeing what's on the other side of the what if, Obviously, as you just mentioned, you would love for her to love what you do, but what is the equivalent of that while still giving her the leeway to do what it is that makes her happy down the line?
So she's very unique. She's a very she has a strong character. Like people say that she looks like me when I was a child, like strong and like super hyper, like she needs to sit down sometimes. But I think the most important is like she learns to be independent. I feel like we all as Colombians had to do it because of the economy, because of our country, because of like the lack of opportunities. So I feel like in the university, they start teaching you how to be an entrepreneur, or at least that was my perception in my whole career. Like, my teachers were always like, you have to be independent. You can build your own company. Well, that's what I studied, right? But with Chloe, I mean, hopefully she sees all these opportunities, and she see like that I'm doing what I love and even if she does whatever she wants to do, but makes her happy. But I'm teaching her how to be like a kind of like entrepreneur, like, hey, like maybe we can do like a lemonade here, and then like you can sell these, or like you can make these bracelets. I feel it's important for them to be independent and to not rely on the corporate situation.
Yeah. I also think that the core of entrepreneurship, right, is identifying a problem or a need and solving it. So the examples that you mentioned earlier of like, let's make a bracelet, let's make a lemonade, it's real life circumstances where you might want something and you can't have it for whatever reason, or it's not available. Y no quedarte con el no ahí sentada, como que waiting for something to fall out of the sky, and instead turn it into an opportunity for yourself and others. I think, to me, that's what's at the core of entrepreneurship, in addition to being resourceful and everything we all talked about as well. But when it comes to kind of simplifying that, those are kind of the core messages for me. And I think it's admirable to be able to do that and to be able to defy the seeming obstacles and all of the no's that you're going to get to just get one yes, or to continue to chase that happiness and that sense of fulfillment that you were talking about.
And you mentioned something super important. Like, I feel like the no is the hardest for everybody. Child, grown-ups, like the no is terrible. Like, I'm teaching her that no is not like, I mean, no for me. Like, when I say no, Chloe is no.
Me no es
O sea,
nada.
see, me, I'm your mother. I can tell you no, but like the no's is like, sometimes, you can find like a positive situation from saying from a no.
Yeah.
So to me, all that happened in my life that was negative, that I grew up, alone, that I didn't have like the father figure, or like I was rejected in jobs, I switched that into the positive. And that's how I think that to me, that's the success. It's not about how many millions you're making, or what is like you're building in your career. Like, no, it's about personally how you take these negative things in your life, because everybody had negative things growing up or like right now. But the key is how you can take all of these and then put it to produce, like, like, hey, let's take this. And then, as you mentioned, like, this is an opportunity that I see, and then like, let's take it.
Yeah, 100%. As we start to wrap up, I want to ask about the future. Is there anything that you're working towards? You mentioned having branched out into florals. Is there anything else related to Nomade or otherwise that you'd like to tap into that you maybe haven't done so yet?
I was trying to expand Nomade weddings, not just in New York. I was actually talking with a friend in San Francisco, which is like kind of like similar, like situations in terms of like weddings and like economy, and she was willing, to maybe open a branch there. So we need to take it back and see how it can work. It's not easy because, like I trained her. She came here and like she did 3-4 weddings with me. So now we're trying to see how we can do that next. And then I don't know. I also want to I love weddings, but I want to try to keep doing more galas. I love galas. I have a gala this year at the Museum of Natural History.
Beautiful.
And it's the same nonprofit that I always work with them for this gala. But I want to have more clients like that. I love to serve for the nonprofits. I know it's hard, but I love it.
It's almost like a welcome challenge.
Yes. Yeah, it's like, okay, we're going to do it. It doesn't matter. It's no money, but we'll build it and people won't see. That's another thing of the beauty of events is like nobody sees how hard it is, but everybody sees the beauty.
Yes.
And that's when you know that you did a good job. When nobody sees how hard it was.
I love that you put it that way because it's true. From the outside looking in, people talk about the music, the decor, the food. But unless there's a problem with logistics or unless there's a problem with the planning, it's not talked about.
Nobody will notice. And that's how a successful planner, if somebody's successful, it's like, oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, of course, because I took care of it. Yeah, we took care of that. Like all the team behind, it was like, but yeah, I love it. Still, I love all these problems, whatever happens, because in every event, something is gonna go wrong. something. But the challenge is like nobody will see it. The guests won't notice this. Like the couple or like my clients, nobody.
You started hinting at this a little bit with the potential expansion to San Francisco. Is there any other inside scoop or exclusive or like something else that you want to share and put out in the universe that you're working towards?
No, not really. I mean, I'm grateful with everything that I've achieved right now. I wanna get bigger. I wanna do more like destination weddings. Nothing in particular is gonna happen. Mostly like like the gala, which I just said that I'm excited because to me that's like my biggest event of the year. But it's just like keep working with wonderful couples, like keep connecting because I love the connection. I love I'm super social, so I like to keep like building this. And yeah, hopefully I can start like traveling more. I want to do, I don't know how, and
We're manifesting.
I'm manifesting, yes. I want to start doing weddings in Italy. Like I want to do like these castle weddings that I love, these kind of weddings.
That's kind of the vision for what I eventually want, so I now know who to call.
I want it, and I know a couple of places. I just need somebody that tells me, hey, take me to Italy, and I'm going to do your wedding there. I really want to do it.
Okay, amazing. The last thing that I want to talk about, honestly, just because of the timely nature of it, the biggest wedding of the summer, so far at least, has been the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce wedding here in New York City. How they transformed Madison Square Garden and no pictures, at least no verified pictures have come out yet.
Yes.
But I kept on thinking about that as we're talking because it really is taking this unconventional venue for something like a wedding and completely transforming it. So I wanted to hear if you had any thoughts on that.
It is crazy. I want to know who was the it has to be like a huge wedding planner, like not even wedding planner. I think that this is a major, like production companies, because it's impossible to make this transition with like a bunch of like,
the secrecy.
Like, and the secrecy, yeah, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't expect less. Like I mean, they're huge. Like. Yeah. I don't know how many people you invited for that wedding. How many people can?
I think it was like over 1,000 or something. I don't know, but knowing what you know about what it takes to put on a normal size wedding, what can you say about what could have potentially taken to put something like this on?
Oh my God, okay, besides of the money, because
bueno,
I mean, like, o sea, ¿cuánto se gastaron? O sea, yo tengo que leer más acerca de eso. I know that about like the Madison Square Garden, but I couldn't see pictures, as you mentioned.
Yeah. A lot of things are still under wraps and under secrecy, and I don't know if we'll ever find out, but I had to ask you because it's your industry.
Of course. I wanna understand or know who did it, because who did it, it took hours and hours and labor to, like to transform that place into, I mean, because I didn't see pictures, I don't know what they did. Like,
people say that they transformed it into like some garden or something, but I mean, if you've ever been to Madison Square Garden,
yes,
it gives the opposite of garden. It's giving dungeon a little bit.
I feel like they put a lot of drapes and things to cover up, because it's hard. Like the transformation is huge. How many fake walls and stuff like that they used to create a space that, I mean, it's crazy too. Why?
I don't know. All I wanted to say is I'm planting the seed for both of us to read more and we'll discuss off camera. But yeah, as we're talking about everything that it truly takes to be an event planner and specialize in weddings, that was an intrusive thought of like, let's talk about this wedding, because I can't, first of all, we don't know enough, honestly, but I can't, it's like beyond my imagination what it took to make it happen and to pull it off.
It is. I don't know. I'm wondering if it's the same people that creates the Met Gala. Seriously, because that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, these are like big, huge companies that literally use like 100 people, hundreds and hundreds of people during that day. Imagine like they give you just 12 hours to set up. How, like, you need so much labor.
Yeah. Speaking of the Met Gala, hay un colombiano that
Sí,
works on it.
He does the flowers.
Is
no?
that something that you would want to work towards?
I
like
would
something
love-
like the Met Gala
Yes.
or like an award show or something like
Yes,
that?
I will always like dream to like, at least if it's not my company, to be part of the team of the Met Gala. I would love to have that experience, like, you know, like behind the scenes and see how it's a huge, you know, like production. That's another level of like, but I'll work on that.
Bueno, bienvenidas sean
amazing.
todas estas oportunidades.
Italy, Met Gala, Taylor Swift.
Bueno, a Taylor Swift-esque wedding.
Wedding, but like her friend, what is her name? Her best friend.
She has many.
She the one that has lupus. ¿Cómo se llama?
No
Es
sé.
la cantante. Ay, la ex from Justin Bieber.
Selena.
Selena. Did she marry that?
She did get married.
Well, it was like a small wedding, eh?
Bueno, there will be a future Taylor Swift, I'm sure. Pero anywho, thank you so much for your time
Cata,
and
thank
all of your knowledge. I had so much fun.
Me too. Thank you, Cata. You know, like, it was amazing that what are you doing is amazing. Like,
Thank you.
I am so proud of you.
Thank you. Va a continuar esta amistad. Thank you again for sharing
Sí.
all of your experiences and your knowledge, because you shared some important key tips for the public over here. So thank you again, and thank you all for listening and watching. Until next time.